Okay, and we should be live now. What do you say we get that intro music going? Ops, and a little bit of paranoia. Welcome to the Sysadmin podcast. All right, everybody. Welcome to tonight's episode of the Sysadmin podcast. I'm your host, Nate, and I'm joined by the one co-host who has stuck with me through this entire show since the beginning. Jason, you deserve some kind of a medal or something.
Huzzah. Okay. Do I get it in the mail, or can I put it up on the wall?
Maybe I should give you the spiky coin that I got at DerbyCon, which I still carry around. You deserve it.
Oh, I have one of those.
And tonight we've got two guests, both of them from the Red Hat Accelerators team within Red Hat. Well, I guess one of them is just sort of associated with the Red Hat Accelerators team, and the other is flat out involved. We've got Andy and we've got Uncle Mark. So I don't know, you two. Andy, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit?
It's like the chicken and the pig for a ham and eggs breakfast. I'm the chicken. I'm involved. Andy's the pig. She's committed.
I don't think we want to get human resources involved this early in the show.
No, I don't think so either.
Usually we reserve that for the second hour.
Okay. Right.
We're powering through and starting early.
Overachiever.
Okay. Hi, everyone. We were just talking about Twitter. So, like, the Twitter version of who Andy is I'm a blogger, so I'm a storyteller. I like to travel, food obsessed, all around nice girl. My day job, however, is to run the customer advocacy program at Red Hat, which is called the Red Hat Accelerators. But I've been doing this for a while, 25 years of kind of customer programs here and there, website, e-commerce. And basically, my role at Red Hat is kind of like my dream job now. It kind of touches all the experiences that I've built on over the millions of years that I've been doing this. And I'm 1,000% lucky to work with these guys every day at Red Hat. We have amazing customers. I like working in the tech space with geeky, nerdy folks. And I did bump my head and work in finance for about 3 years, but I pivoted and it's back to tech. But I am a marketer, so I'm kind of a little different breed that you guys are usually have as a guest. So I'm going to try to keep the buzzwords to a minimum. Over to you, Mark.
So I'm Mark Richter, a.k.a. Uncle Mark, and now I'm out of beer, which is a tragedy. Well, it's okay. There's more upstairs, but
I brought extra.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, we can't send beer over TCP/IP.
Would you like a Guinness?
I can't reach
beer over IP. Isn't there an RFP for that?
There should be.
There should be. I bet.
You can send the beer over carrier pigeon.
I was just going to say that we could send the beer via carrier pigeon. Thus,
that would work for the two of you. I don't know about you and Mark, though.
Well, it'll just take a little longer. Carrier pigeons can go a long way. Don't they go all the way from Massachusetts down to Florida or something?
How can it carry it? And it's probably a question of weight ratios at that point.
Since when did we?
Is it an African or a European swallow?
So I think we're still doing my introduction.
Seems that way.
Which is now totally pigeonholed. Get it? Oh, and Chuck is watching, he says. Chuck Marshall. Hey, buddy. So anyway, I'm a technical account manager. Oh, sorry, a principal technical account manager at Red Hat. I've been there.
You earned that.
Yeah, I'm fooling somebody. Anyway, I've been at the Hat since 2015. Prior to that, I was a Linux engineer and administrator and did all that stuff at Merck for about a decade or so. And I have actually been a nerd. You can probably see it on the video. There's the Apple II that my dad's best friend bought many, many years ago. That's the machine I actually learned on. But I've always been a professional nerd in some way, shape, or form, which is kind of cool. So at Red Hat, they pay me to learn cool technologies, and I have 5 big enterprise customers that I am their personal TAM. I help them use our products better. Like, for instance, today one of them was having an issue with satellite. I know that's hard to believe.
Hard to believe.
Right. So I helped push that along. I didn't solve the issue, but I pulled some very good content from the logs, which the actual engineer who solved it didn't need at all. But hey, what? No, it was good though. It was good.
But at least you felt like you were helping.
I felt like I was helping. Yeah.
All right. So as we've alluded to, Mark and Andy are both here to talk about the Red Hat Accelerators. So I'm going to give you my sort of brief overview of what the accelerators are, and then we'll go a little more in depth. So the accelerators are a customer advocacy group, which a number of sort of larger companies will generally do in order to sort of get feedback from their customers and help some of their most passionate customers interact with the brand a little better. So I was a member of the Red Hat Accelerators, and you may have heard me talk about that on the show in the past. It got me involved in a number of things at Red Hat, which were pretty cool, like enable Sysadmin, and it got a little more attention to my own blog, which was kind of cool, and it got me sort of creating some more content where I had sort of slacked off in my blogging life. So those were all cool things, and it played some hand in getting me introduced to Red Hat in general, which I now work for. So that was also a benefit. Not that that's the goal of the accelerators. I want to focus on that for just a second. But for me, it worked out. So, Andy, I'm sure you have like an elevator pitch that you have to give people for what the accelerators are. Do you want to fill in the gaps that I just left in my description?
You did a pretty good job. It's true. A lot of enterprise companies have these customer advocacy programs, and the main reason why, I'll go into what Red Hat is, but just a background for customer advocacy in general. And I used this example earlier in the week. If I buy a product to wash my car, I can listen to the brand that said, "Hey, we're the best car polish ever. Use us. Your car paint's going to last forever. We're awesome." Every brand's going to have a pitch about their product and say that they're awesome. But if I listen to my neighbor down the street, my coworker in the office, and my dad saying that they all use the same product and they say, "It worked, I like it, I think you should use it," that's going to be a lot more powerful than to have the brand tell me, "Hey, this product is great." And that's really what customer advocacy is that our customers are advocating for Red Hat on behalf of us. And for people that who are in the tech industry, their peers, their day-to-day people that they interact with, it's far more powerful to hear it from your coworker, your peer, the guy down the street who you might get together and chat with about your project, than for Red Hat to say it. So that's sort of like the key feature of customer advocacy programs, and Red Hat Accelerators is the same. So we're finding, engaging, converting customers. There's those marketing buzzwords, and just sort of converting them into our advocates, because we do that by sort of establishing a mutually beneficial relationship. There's always give and take. Like we're gonna offer some sort of benefits, and we're gonna get some benefits from that. And we're just looking to grow that and to make sure that we're building long-term relationships with our customers. Red Hat is a very relationship-based company in general, and this is just an extension of that.
So, Andy, I don't want to catch you off guard with this one. However, I know that you've only recently joined Red Hat within the last 6-8 months, and came into the accelerators program. So, Mark, you may have more insight on this, but
that's another Red Hat product insight. Yep.
The idea to start the Red Hat Accelerators, is there any story behind that? Mark, do you even know? I know there was somebody else at the helm who's no longer with Red Hat. So I don't know if you have any of that story.
So Andy's predecessor, a gentleman named Brian, is the one who really, I guess, birthed the program at Red Hat. But to me it was a natural, right? Red Hat is one of those companies that, like many tech companies, where you get some strong opinions. There are people who, you'd think, oh, it's just software. Oh, it's just a technology. But I mean, think of the convo we were having before the podcast, where we were like making fun of certain techs and almost professing our love for some others. I mean, nerds have strong opinions. I mean, I guess people have strong opinions, right? About a great many things. But the whole idea of communities, Linux started as a community. It did not start as a commercial product, and most of the software that people use nowadays, on top of or alongside of Linux, most of that software were hobbyists, creating it. So in some ways, having a customer advocacy community is almost, I think, completing that circle.
Yeah.
The company becomes successful, or at least becomes well known, and then there are people who are like, hey, I like your stuff. And so the idea of forming a community around that, I mean, I guess if you were going to be super cynical, you could, like, imagine like McDonald's making like the McSwineys or something. I don't know. It's our customer advocacy group where people are they're gonna meet and extol the virtue of Big Macs. I mean, maybe they do. I don't know.
I could just imagine a Burger King customer advocacy group called the Kings or something.
The Kings, right? Yeah, right. It's the gang. Yeah. Don't mess with the Kings; they'll cut you. But
you get the creepy guy in the mask looking over you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Burger King guy with the big head.
Oh, those the creepy Burger King commercials from, I think, was that in the 2000s? They were about 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Man, those sucked. I hated them.
the big king head, the big like plaster head.
I don't know. Yeah, so what that tells me is a bunch of people sat around a table in a conference room and said, "Yeah, this is a good idea. Ship it."
Yeah, somebody thought that was a good idea.
But they also said that about Full House. So, I don't know.
Rhett, we have so much experience in building community upstream. It just made total sense, and I'm projecting here because I wasn't here in the beginning. It just makes.
And I
sense.
totally didn't answer the question, by the way.
You did. We just went off.
Nonsense.
Yeah, you're the nerd wrangler. Tonight I'm the Marc wrangler. We just do all this stuff with upstream communities. It just made sense to kind of do a downstream community, right? With enterprise customers. It's just, again, a natural extension of what Red Hat already does for their business model. So
right, and I kind of wanted to point that out because if I buy, so here's my delicious black and tan, right? So I bought this. That was the transaction, and maybe I'll buy more, or something a little more durable. I don't know, but a lot of consumers, you buy something, and that's kind of it. But we're now we're in a world where there's a lot more subscription services. So when you're a Red Hat customer, you're a Red Hat customer now, but there's going to be a decision point down the road, and whether that's a year or 2 years or 3 years, where you have to decide, am I going to continue to be a Red Hat customer because the subscription runs out? So companies that are offering subscription services, I think, there's a lot more interest in having those conversations with customers. Hey, what are we doing right? What could we do better?
You had to work that in.
I did. And I think what we saw with Red Hat with our customers is a lot of them are a little crazy obsessed with us sometimes, like in a good way.
What are you talking about?
In a good way.
There's a spectrum of loyalty and satisfaction. I mean, you started with satisfaction. You're buying the software, you're using it, you like it. Then loyalty is okay, a preference. I'd rather pick Red Hat over some competitor. And then advocacy is pure on, I'm loving you. I don't want to use anyone else. Keep on doing what you're doing. Oh, by the way, you could fix X, Y, Z, but I still love you. That sort of thing.
So I got to join the community when it was about, I'm going to call it 6 months old. Because the guy who was doing the tech moderator job, I said, hey, if Thomas ever wants a break, I can jump in, and he was so overworked that yeah. So all of a
Yes,
sudden,
it's yours. Go.
I found myself being a tech moderator. Which, if I didn't make it clear, Red Hat doesn't pay me to work with the accelerators. It's one of my hobby jobs. Like it's something I do as extra. So that's actually kind of really fun and cool.
There seems to be a number of those within Red Hat. Now that I'm on the inside, it's like, hey, can you do this other thing too? How about this? Does this sound interesting? But it's all voluntary. like none of it's do this or you're not getting paid or something. It's more like
it's definitely and Red Hat's this crazy chaotic mess inside sometimes, and maybe I don't want to show too much of our laundry, but it's definitely a culture where, much like in the general open source community, you have to earn cred. Like, it's a meritocracy. If you just, and I think a lot of tech companies are like that. I don't know if Jason works for in a similar situation, but now he's shaking his head no. But
not even currently anyway, I'm sure of that.
Yeah. But like, even, back when I was at Merck, I was told, hey, you own your career. You've gotta like do stuff to stand out. Red Hat, it's like to the nth power, but it's pretty awesome because we really are given a lot of freedom to pursue really cool stuff. So the accelerators is one of those things I do because I legitimately enjoy it, and I think it's important. So, yeah.
All right. So, can you give us some ideas as to what kind of interesting things the accelerators have done, or things that maybe members might expect to see or be involved in?
Yeah, sure. I can name off some, and Uncle Mark can do so as well. I mean, from a programmatic perspective, one of the most important things or activities that we do is sort of getting technical SMEs at Red Hat in front of accelerators.
I think you just used a TLA. What's a SME?
A subject matter expert. So
there you go.
A technical marketing manager or an engineer, getting them in front of accelerators with either a finished idea or finished product or a feature that someone might be working on. We had a session with some engineers in Brno this week where they had talked with accelerators last fall about a feature that was coming out in a product release soon, and they got some understanding around that, and then they did a briefing this week saying, okay, we want to show you more, and it's not baked and ready to go, but they're still providing feedback. Those types of things, to roadmap sessions. A lot of our program is around just getting technical people in front of accelerators and talking about what's coming out, so they're sort of ahead of the curve, whether it's they're the Red Hat guy at their or gal at their company, or they're building sort of domain expertise in their, like, podcasting, blogging, or whatever. Getting them information early and often is sort of gives them domain expertise, power, street cred. So that's a lot of what we do. And then sort of something that I bring to the program, because I'm new and I have a little bit different background, is helping people build their personal brand. So a lot of people want to do public speaking. A lot of people want to do blogging or podcasting or do social media better. And so we're doing that stuff that's not Red Hat specific. So we have, we talk about blogging and public speaking, tips and tricks, how you might do Twitter better, etc. And that's an investment in people's personal brand, not just what do you know about Red Hat. So we do things like that. We have presences at industry shows and, of course, Red Hat events, and that's where Uncle Mark has had a lot of participation in as well. He's hosted panels at our Red Hat Summit, and he's taken accelerators out to shows like Ansible Fest, et cetera. And Mark, maybe you want to talk a little bit about that too as well, and what that experience is like.
That experience is pretty flippin' stellar. So Summit is like this big prize. When you're a Red Hatter, being able to get to Summit is actually a goal of many of us, because it's not something everybody gets to do. Yeah. And I've been a Red Hat for a while, and last year was the first year I was able to go because I submitted a panel to talk with several accelerators about what they've done with Red Hat products, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And in fact, Mr. Nate was a substitute into that panel because one of the people couldn't make it. So I'm like, "Hey Nate, you're going to Summit, right?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Can we swap you in? Do you want to be on the panel?" And he actually did a great job. So what was really neat was seeing these five guys up on the stage, and you had Abraham Snell, who's amazing. You had Nate, you had Dave, you had Academic Jim with his mighty Unix beard.
Yes, the beard.
And they start talking, and there were a bunch of Red Hatters in the room, and as soon as they started talking about what we could do better, like a dozen people were like suddenly leaning forward, totally like taking notes and paying attention. And then the questions started. And yeah, some customers are asking questions. It was mostly Red Hat employees who were really, really interested in what they had to say because, the accelerators like our stuff. They have very fond feelings to it, but again, they'll tell us what we're doing wrong. They're not afraid to say, yeah, this part of the experience sucks.
So I've
Abraham
had
sat up on the stage saying, "Help me give you money. Your subscription experience is terrible."
I've had since joining Red Hat. Now that's just under 4 months at this point.
October, right? It was October.
It was October.
Yeah.
I've had 3 internal Red Hat employees tell me, including our current boss, Mark, that they saw me on that panel. And they remembered me from that panel, probably because of the goatee. I don't know. But
the goats, the goat is very much something you remember you by. Yeah.
But, just to sort of lend to what you're saying, that Red Hatters were there and they were paying attention. Program managers, people that were higher up in the food chain than just like average
high
folks.
in the food chain. Very, very high. My goal was to get Jim Whitehurst there, but it didn't happen.
It didn't work out.
Maybe this year. Because
But he hung out with accelerators at a happy hour,
in
right?
the tent. We have pictures. We were in the mighty executive tent. It was awesome. So
if you want to meet Jim Whitehurst, become an accelerator. We'll talk about how later.
Not even kidding. Not even kidding. Yeah, because we're doing the panel again this year. I'm very much looking forward to that. And I feel like I'm going to steal Andy's thunder a little bit, but we got some other cool stuff going on at Summit. Yeah. If you're getting to Summit. Yeah. This is like going to be the Red Hat shill show in a little bit if we're not careful. Jason's going to start throwing things at us.
Well, we are talking all about our Red Hat program.
I was going to make it a Ubuntu joke, but
just don't mention Oracle. Oh crap! I mentioned Oracle. Oh no!
No, it's unbreakable.
It's unbreakable, totally unbreakable.
You got to use the unfakeable Linux. Thank you very much. Yeah, so we got some cool stuff in the pipe for Summit this year, I will say.
Yeah,
we actually have an area.
Experience. Yeah, we're going to have an area, a lounge. We try to bring some behind the scenes stuff, some executive meet and greet. It's worth coming to, and we try to make this sort of mini versions of that for conferences we do, like in Ansible Fest. Like we had a presence there last year. We're going to have a presence there next year. But we also have done some shows like AWS reInvent, where there was a panel that Accelerator sat on as well.
That was the panel that Nate heckled.
Oh, okay.
I did. I was in the crowd and basically participating almost as much as your panelists were.
He didn't actually. He didn't heckle. That was actually Nate caught my eye at that in a totally business appropriate way. I'm married already. Thank you very much. And then did you come to the Atomic History Museum with us?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. But yeah, so that was when I first really I think met you, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, we sort of knew each other through the accelerators, of course. But
were you in the accelerators already?
Yeah, I was in the accelerators. Jason has his red hat on now. He's feeling a bit of envy, I think.
Mine's a little smaller.
That one looks. That one looks more like a Carmen Sandiego thing than a.
Exactly, that's what it is.
Right. But that was but at reInvent that was like the first time we actually, I think, spent any significant time together. So
Yeah, yeah. In fact, well, I guess we can talk more about this a little bit when we talk about how to join the accelerators. But when you join the accelerators, it's not just I filled out a form and now I'm part of the accelerators. There's actually an interview process, and Mark, you were part of my interview process.
I was.
So that was the first time we met.
I'm
officially.
old. I don't remember.
Well, now we have to know how did the interview go, and tell us about all the inappropriate bits.
I remember that Brian practically fell out of his chair when I told him that I ran a podcast. So I figured I was in at that point.
And Brian probably still is. I'm not talking about Olympic. He's dead. But Brian, very excitable. Yeah. So he got loud. He got loud quickly. Yeah. He was pumped. I was impressed too. By the way, I thought that was a good thing.
You hold it in better then.
You were my magical unicorn accelerator, and then you became an employee. I was like, Nate is the perfect accelerator. He blogs, he podcasts, he goes to shows, he speaks on panels. He is what we want. Oh, damn! Now he's a Red Hatter.
Yeah, seems to be a recurring theme at this point. But.
He saw the posting, right? I mean, what are we gonna do?
Saw the posting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He's amazing Red Hatter. We're happy to have him.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. And you're still part of the accelerators, right? You're one of our volunteer towns. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
That's always a tough thing, though, right? I don't know if it happened. I don't know if I want to go on the sidetrack, but the whole idea of you of jumping from companies, like when you're a customer and you join a company, because I know that happened with one of our other fellow TAMs. He was a highly valued employee at one of my accounts, and he ended up coming on board at Red Hat, and he's awesome. But that was a little bumpy. There's definitely potential for hurt feelings there.
Yeah, you have to be careful.
And we definitely don't want to be like, yes, join the accelerators, so that way we can poach you.
I don't think there were any hurt feelings at my previous employer. Not that we were on bad terms, but they had a different vision for where they wanted to take IT, and I think. I don't want to put this negatively, but I feel like I may have been a roadblock to where they wanted to go, because they valued me as an employee and didn't want me to leave, didn't want to fire me, didn't want to make me unhappy, but they also saw that I was not interested in where they wanted to go. So it worked out better, I think, for everybody.
That's good. Certainly worked out for us.
But at any rate, let's see, we already kind of touched on this, but I don't know if you want to fill in any more blanks that we didn't already. What does a member of the accelerators as a customer get out of being an accelerator? You've already mentioned that they get access to, or maybe not access to, but they get sort of direct feedback toward project managers or
technical account managers,
direct technical.
Technical marketing managers.
Technical marketing managers. There's so many titles, I don't know them all yet.
I don't know them either.
I've been here 5 years. I don't.
So, I mean, beyond that, beyond being able to have a presentation about satellite from like a satellite expert at Red Hat who also has the ability to take your feedback and make changes.
Yeah.
What else could you say that the accelerators, the members, get out of being an accelerator?
Well, I think the number one thing is community, right? So we have a Slack channel, and the accelerators are on it 24/7, and it's not just about what you're working with from a technology perspective, but it's also just peer-to-peer networking, hanging out and talking about barbecuing, what you did on the weekend.
It's not even kidding.
I'm not kidding. 3D printing, that sort
3D
of thing.
printing.
But of course, also
3D barbecuing.
That's soon to come, I'm sure. But if you truly have a problem, there is going to be a Red Hatter Red Hat Accelerator, because another sort of character aspect of the accelerators is that they're so generous with their knowledge and their time. If you have a problem, you drop it in Slack, say, hey, I'm experiencing this, or hey, have you seen this? There's going to be 3 or 4 accelerators who pop in and say, yeah, I had that problem, this was my resolution, etc. You might even not ever need to go to customer support, because you've got your crew that's hanging out on Slack that's there to help you. And if they can't find the answer themselves, a lot of times they'll go out and search for you, find the answer, and bring it back for you. So you've got, agents of, not of change, but, people that are going out and working on your behalf just because they like you, hang out with you, respect you, and you're a peer.
So I have a story that directly relates to that, and it's basically that at my previous employer, I was working with satellite. I ran into this weird problem with like...
No way.
Yeah, right. No way. A weird problem. It was actually like a database problem. There was something with, I don't know, content view versions or something that had backed up. Yeah, I know. That's impossible, right? This never happens.
John Spinks is going to frickin' kill you too.
But I went.
I have the scars. This is actually probably a literal scar from Satellite 6.0.
Because I was fighting with Satellite 6.0 and I tried to kill myself to get away from.
So John Spinks wasn't here for that.
Okay.
He got to waltz in after it was working better.
So I went and I opened a ticket with support, as you do when you can't figure out a problem. And then within minutes later, I'm in the Accelerator Slack channel saying, hey, I'm seeing this weird thing. Hey, how can I get out of it? Like, what can I do? I've already got a ticket open, blah, 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 blah. Just trying to see if I can more quickly resolve the problem because I want to get back to doing whatever I was doing, right? I don't want to wait for support to come back.
Reddit waits for no man.
And you, Mark, you can probably guess who responded to me. One of our satellite experts in this Slack. It wasn't you, unfortunately, because you were probably busy tamming.
Or reading Reddit. Was it one of the accelerators or was it a Red Hatter?
Yeah, one of the accelerators.
Probably Will.
Yeah, I was going to say his name rhymes with Satellite Bill.
Yeah, like no one's... Ooh,
like it matters,
right? Satellite Bill was totally anonymous, but Satellite Will now got people running to his house.
Yeah. He came back with a couple suggestions, asked me a few questions, and sure enough, within a few minutes, we came up with a solution. And it took me, I don't know, maybe an hour to work through the solution, but I was able to get through it, and ta-da, my satellite's up and running again, which was cool, right?
Yeah.
So
and it happens all the time inside Slack. That just community is super generous with their experience and time, and that's just you can't find that very often. It's very special, I think, and the accelerators have that.
Yeah, and if I can give an honest confession, I'll breeze through the chat, and I'll be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna see if anybody picks this up because I'm not sure." And 99 times out of 100, a fellow accelerator will answer the question. Yeah. Because I think the ultimate goal is for this community to be self-sufficient, right? Like Red Hat provide the infrastructure, provide other stuff, the stuff only Red Hat can provide, but have the community help run itself.
Yep.
Another thing that we give accelerators, by the way, I had a customer today who on our TAM call, he went out of his way to, again, pick up the swag box that we send them and was stroking. He's like, this box is so awesome. This box you guys sent me.
The box is awesome.
Amazing.
The box is awesome.
The stuff inside, too, but he was impressed.
Look,
swag is important.
The welcome kit that I got was a top-notch box.
Top-notch.
I mean, the box.
Top-notch.
I saved it. It's up in my attic because I couldn't just throw it away. It's packaging, but I could not throw it away.
Right. Yep. Same with my customer. He's like, I'm not throwing this box away. This box is amazing.
Apple can learn something from how the accelerators package that welcome kit.
Like, are you a cat? Because you're a little too obsessed with that box, but
It's pretty awesome.
They're good. I don't know if they're still using the same box, but those boxes were great. Well, they had the old logo on them, so I guess not.
He's relatively new in the grand scheme of things.
We still have some of those boxes around.
That box.
Yep, we are. Yep. Let's see. More things that you get from being an accelerator.
Aside from the box.
Aside from the box, the network, the product experience, conference experience. And we've touched on sort of this personal, professional brand development if you're interested in doing public speaking or blogging or things like that. Cool swag. I guess another thing that's kind of tangential is like you get access to this. Sorry, is that markety? Sorry.
No, I'm just trying to figure out is that tangential?
We can't have tangents on this show.
Yeah. I don't know. And for those of you who are not watching the video, you missed all my goofy hand motions.
The hand signals.
He looked like Madonna doing Vogue for a while. Yep, that's true.
Now, I know Chuck is watching because he responded live on Facebook when we were talking about Satellite 6. He said, "Oh my God, I'm dying. Sat 6.0."
It was a box of razors.
Except a box of razors actually worked as intended.
I think Andy was trying to go off on her tangent.
I'm just like, sort of the last thing was like, being the Red Hat guy or girl and within your organization can also help your career, right? You could be the go-to person for that. You are also an influencer, right? Red Hat
Influencer.
Accelerators, and
Oh,
we
well,
didn't
that means
mention.
you get free stuff at hotels and restaurants. And
That's
stuff,
right.
right?
That's right. That's right. That's absolutely
Yeah.
true. That's my life. The Oh, you made me lose my train of thought. Damn it.
I'll stop being such a jerk.
Freaking Mark.
It's totally fine. It's totally fine. Oh, so one of the things that we didn't mention is that accelerators is for hands-on practitioners, right? The people that are using this every day. So it's not the C-suite. It's not necessarily the decision makers, but accelerators influence those people, right, internally. So if people are looking to expand their, whatever their technology set is with a product that they don't necessarily aren't familiar with, but as an accelerator you've had exposure to, you can educate your coworkers internally and maybe influence decisions that way too. I know we were talking to someone earlier this week that wanted to bring insights into their organization. They were completely unfamiliar with insights until they attended some accelerators sessions, and then they were able to influence their management to actually bring it in. So that's kind of another thing that being an accelerator can do for you too, as well as like actually help your career when it comes to being the expert on Red Hat within your organization.
So, true stories. We've had manager people apply for the program, and we've said, yeah, no. Like when we interview them, we realize, oh wait, this person's, and they're clever enough, they're nice enough, but their hands haven't touched a keyboard in I don't know how long. They're managing people. Like, yeah, this isn't for you.
So you guys are a technology safe space.
In a lot, right? Yeah, we don't want the pointy-haired boss from Dilbert. He's the only person not really welcome.
I'm barely allowed to be in there, right?
You're tolerated. Well, you're tolerated because you send out the boxes. So.
Yes, that's what it is.
And honestly, we could probably have Grace do that. So you better watch yourself.
Yeah, she's on our program team too. She's the actual one that does that
Grace
magic.
Is awesome.
Yes, yeah.
So the next thing I had in the outline here of things we wanted to try to cover was, what does Red Hat get out of this? And I think we kind of covered some of that.
So much!
Yeah, we do. Go ahead, Mark.
So, and that's the accelerators, like they have such a great time and they get access to all this stuff. They're like, what can you guys possibly be getting from us? Like, what are you possibly getting out of this relationship? And
true.
And the reality is that they provide the kind of candid, straight, and awesome feedback that you sometimes need to drop thousands of dollars on to do a single study.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. Like, to run if you were to try and put together a focus group to say, does this widget we're introducing suck? And like just do that from scratch and find, Joe random nerd on the street to do it, $10, $20, $30,000, there it goes down the turlet.
Yep.
And
very
and
true.
so but the accelerators, they're like, we've made legitimate changes, course corrections in our product lines based on accelerator feedback, specifically around some of the subscription stuff. Dan, one of the subscription guys from Red Hat, he's one of our best friends, friend of the accelerator, and he comes on and the guys are just they're kindly brutal to him about a lot of things, and
some are just brutal.
Some are just brutal. Most of them are kindly brutal.
Most are kindly brutal.
And again, we've made changes that were like, oh, we didn't think of that. Yeah. That's really a better way to do it.
Yeah.
And so Red Hat gets a lot out of it.
Yeah.
A lot.
And we already have really strong relationships, and I think that the accelerator relationships with they're able to forge like even stronger relationships with Red Hat people, so that it's always easier to like drop bad news or have something that doesn't work. And when it's someone that you have a relationship, it's far easier to have that difficult conversation with than someone who like is a complete stranger. So I think it customer relationships is a big deal for Red Hat. I think this is just another way that those are made stronger. And the people at Red Hat, so if you become a Red Hat Accelerator, you have to sign an NDA, right? Because you're getting access to information that's not available publicly. So you're a trusted source of content because you've seen some of the behind the kimono sausage making stuff, and you can be trusted that you're not going to share, and that you're a hands-on person that understands the pain points. So you're really a trusted source of that feedback. And then two other kind of things that Red Hat benefits from too, that I think of from a marketing perspective, and that goes back to that word of mouth thing, right? It's the same thing. You can't pay people enough. You can have a celebrity spokesperson to say, hey, Red Hat's awesome. I mean, lots of companies do that. But to have actual customers go out and advocate for you externally, it's priceless. And the word of mouth aspect is huge. And then the other thing is like, we have people in this space, whether it's Cisco or a VMware or Dell or Microsoft that have their customer advocacy programs. So it's sort of like an industry awareness thing that Red Hat also has a customer advocacy program because they believe in customer advocacy. They're investing the money to have this program, to keep the program, et cetera. So it sort of raises the awareness with the industry that it's important to us too. So that's also a benefit that we have from the program and the accelerators.
So I guess something that I actually didn't include in the questions, I'm sorry if this blindsides you, but I guess a really good thing to end with is what does it take to become an accelerator, and how might somebody apply to become an accelerator?
Sure. So we've touched on some of the things already. One is like being a hands-on practitioner, so you're using the product's technology every day. You probably aren't going to be a newbie in the space either. Most of the accelerators have been doing this for at least 5 years, if not more. So there's a level of seniority or expertise. Even if you're newer at some products than others, most of the people have been doing this stuff for quite a while. So probably not someone who's just starting out, although we haven't had people apply for that. Maybe that's something we might want to consider. The curiosity and generosity of spirit. So people that are like generally interested in helping each other, that generally like to be part of communities and invest in that. I'd say people who are looking to build their personal and professional brand by doing some of these other things. Sometimes it's not just good enough to be really good at your job. People are looking at what else can you do? Like, can you blog? Can you podcast? Can you public speak? That sort of thing. So people who might be interested in building out their personal and professional brand. And then actually the signing up and getting it done part's pretty easy. So we have a little bit of information on a website that's in our customer portal. So you have to be a customer of Red Hat to be a part of this program. So you can access the form in our customer portal. And we will share the URL for that too as well. Nate's going to share it in the notes.
Yep, it'll be in the show notes.
And we have some information about the program, some of the terms and conditions, and an application form. So you fill out the application form. It's pretty straightforward. I think it's about 10 questions. And then the team receives that and we take a look. Please make sure to fill out the form. I don't know how many people like fill out their name and email address and yes, I want to be an accelerator. That really doesn't tell us very much. We ask
You're not getting in.
Yeah, sorry. We kind of want to know why you want to be an accelerator.
You're not getting in if you do that. You actually have to, you got to put forth a little bit of effort. Come on, people.
Yeah, we're not asking a lot.
Fill the damn form out.
Short form questions. And then
listen, sysadmins don't have time for that.
Well, they don't
you
have
need
time.
a short.
Then we don't have time to send them the box. All right. If you want the box, you got to fill the form out.
It's simple. Then we reach out and say, "Hey, we like what we see. Let's set up an interview." I cannot do it like you. You do it the best. Do it again.
I have 3 daughters. Hey.
Which is terrible considering that Mark is an older man and shouldn't be able to do that well.
So we will reach back out to you either way, whether we don't think you're a good fit or we do. If we think you're a good fit, we'll have you set up a request for an interview with someone like Uncle Mark or Nate. And sometimes we have other accelerators on the call too as well. And then someone like me or Grace, and we'll just get on the phone and just talk through the program a little bit more, talk about your background and experience, why you may want to be accelerator. And that's pretty much it. And then we make the decision whether to bring you on board. You fill out your NDA and stuff, and you're in the program. We do run a calendar by calendar year membership. So at the end of each year, we sort of renew everyone. It's an opportunity for you to say, do I really want to continue doing this or not? No. Shh, shh. And then we re-up everyone for the next year. So it's pretty straightforward. I will say, and Uncle Mark says this best, and he can go into his Boy Scouts lecture. We do a lot. And we know people have jobs and lives and children and pets and dogs, and you can't do everything. We do record nearly all our sessions that we do. So if you can't make it, you can listen to it. But I'll let Uncle Mark give the rest of the story.
Well, no, I tell them the same thing that I tell the scouts when they're joining my troop. You know, we've got all sorts of activities, and life is busy and overwhelming. So you get out of scouting what you put into scouting. Like if you never show up to the meetings, if you don't go on any of the camping trips, the hikes, whatever, you're not going to rank up. You're not going to have fun. And the accelerators is very much the same way. It's supposed to bring joy. It's not supposed to be a burden. But in many ways, you know, a program like this, it's like any community. Again, you know, you can join a community and never show up and never engage. So,
and then what do you get out of it?
You get nothing, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you get the box, and that's it.
It's a great box.
And the box is spectacular. I mean, for some people, maybe that is worth it. But I think people want more than just the box. I really believe that. So
I'm gonna have to bring the box to the next show now.
I know. I was like, "Where's my box?"
Yeah, now, Jason wants a box. You have to join the accelerators. So go become a customer, and you can join.
Yeah. Does your company use Red Hat products? You know, that's the first question.
Yes.
Well, then you're on. Okay, and if you don't hate us, let's start with don't hate us. We'd prefer if you liked us,
right?
You know, and
that's
then
go
start. Fill out the form, and we'll talk.
And then you too could apply for a job at Red Hat, and then
you might get the box. And if you get right, yeah. Ooh.
Sorry, did I say that?
Empty promises.
Recorded and broadcasted to the world.
Well, it was broadcasted, and they'll end up recorded. Fun time, though. Fun time.
All right, so I think we've covered it pretty well in a slightly rambly way. Probably not the presentations that you're used to, Andy.
Oh, it's fine.
So any final thoughts on the accelerators before we transition into what could be even less on point, which would be the rest of the show?
The only thing I would say is if you're listening to the show and you're not a Red Hat customer, too bad for you. But think about customer advocacy. So like if
we feel sorry for you if you're not a Red Hat customer.
We do feel sorry for you. Sorry, but that doesn't mean you can't get involved in customer advocacy. If some of the stuff the accelerators do seems interesting, check out sort of like if you're a Cisco shop, check out what the Cisco champions do. If you're using a lot of VMware, check out VE Expert. If it appeals to you, the idea, the concept of this community in general, there are a lot of them out there, and you may want to consider joining. Even if you're not a Red Hat customer, seek something else out because it can be really rewarding.
We're hardly first in the space. In fact, there's been a lot of great communities and great advocacy groups that have come before us. So we're kind of the new kids on the block. Ooh, ooh, ooh! Start the music.
No.
Was that New Kids on the Block or was that someone else?
I don't think it was.
That's NSYNC.
That's NSYNC. Aren't they the same? I don't know.
They're the same. They're different faces, but they're the same.
Yeah.
Turn off that garbage music. Get off my lawn. Yeah.
All right, and with that, I think it is time we transition. So, Jason, do you remember the color of the button? This is your quiz.
I gotta get it wrong every time. Isn't it purple?
It's purple. And I missed it.
Oh, this is the new Kids on the Block album. Okay.
If anybody hasn't guessed, judging from the song that I chose to cut up to make all the music for this show, I was not a New Kids on the Block fan.
Yet.
And I feel like we don't mention that enough. It is in the show notes, but that song is a Creative Commons released song by a band called Tritachyon. It's called Digital MK2. So you can go check that out. There's a link for it in the show notes if you want to hear the whole song and not just the pieces that I use on the show. So, sorry, now I got to find where I was in the
Awkward
list.
silence.
Awkward silence. I'll edit that out later. Hint: I won't edit it later. There'll just be
No,
a silence in
you're
there.
not
It'll be-
No one believes.
Listen, do you have any idea how hard it is to go find that pause later when I'm editing a 2-hour-long show?
No.
I usually just give up and let it go.
Let it go. Let
Yeah,
it go. Just Elsa that pause, man.
Just like Elsa.
Well, might I recommend that one of you who is not controlling the things, aka Jason, like has a piece of paper and notes and says, "Oh, pause at 50 seconds." You know, then you'll know where
Here's
to
the
go.
program manager talking now.
At 56 minutes, there was a pause we were supposed to edit out.
Doesn't that mean I have to pay attention?
And then Mark.
No.
It's your show. It's your show.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
It's your show.
The kicker is
Go and edit the crap out. It's your show. It's your show.
the kicker is the sound recorder that I use to
15 minutes.
actually record the show has this button on it I can push that just puts a marker.
Ah,
Right, and then it shows up in the audio editing program later. The problem is I always forget to hit the button. So anyway,
So what is that? 50 minutes and 34-ish seconds. We got to cut out that musical interlude.
That might not be a terrible idea.
all right. So on to announcements. I don't know that we have a whole lot of announcements. We have our usual Patreon updates. The number of patrons has not changed since last show, but I have them in the show notes, and I can read them off, I suppose. We've got Mr. 22532, who, again, I think is our first patron ever, and he's been with us for most of the life of the show, so thank you. Andy, who's on the show tonight. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but thank you for being a patron.
my pleasure.
Charles DeMentor, who we had on the show a few weeks ago. gimpyb. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It sounds like an odd name.
gimpyb? I'd pronounce it that way.
Yeah.
Maybe he uses the GNU image manipulation program.
Perhaps. Maybe that's it. But it's version B.
That or he walks with the limp.
Battery works with a limp.
Walks with the limp.
Right. So Jason, who's not the Jason here, but Jay is. John, Julius, Mark with a C, who hi Mark.
Hi.
Mark with a K, because it's not confusing enough to have two people named Mark. They just have two different letters at the end of their name. And Ryan. So thank you, folks, for being patrons. Some of you are brand new. In fact, just this month. So thank you for joining up. And
Go
it
Ryan.
is much appreciated.
I don't even know who Ryan is, but go Ryan.
Neither do I, but I appreciate
Maybe it's
that.
Ryan Gosling. What if it's Ryan Gosling?
I don't think it's Ryan Gosling.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Because I actually do have last names for these folks, but I don't include them in the
you're
show
Ryan
because I
Gosling.
respect their privacy. It's not Ryan Gosling.
If you're Ryan Gosling, reach out to me.
Yeah, right. If you're Ryan Gosling, you should be sending more money.
Yeah.
That's true too. It's probably beside the point.
Oh, you're going to scare him away now.
Yeah, right. Oh, crap, they're on to me. Anyway, Red Hat Summit is coming up, as we talked about, April 27th to 29th. I just grabbed that while we were chatting, so I hope I copy and pasted it right.
Assuming the coronavirus doesn't take out the West Coast, yes.
Assuming the coronavirus does not take out the West Coast. Now, that's another valid concern. Do I really want to go to California while the coronavirus is running rampant?
So, I don't know, because
San Francisco said declared a state of emergency, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had poop and needles on the street for a long time, though, so
Yeah.
that's probably been a long time coming.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that RSA conference.
RSAC, yeah.
Yeah, IBM, who's a little company that we're associated with, Facebook, a couple of other
Associated
companies, I
with.
think, pulled out of that.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then
And Facebook you're going to say the same thing. They canceled their show, right? Their conference.
which is a good thing because, well, anyway, they're Facebook.
It does seem like sending a bunch of your customers into an area where they may catch a deathly illness, kind of a bad move.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, the only reason that all these are getting canceled is because of sort of the overblown nature of the whole thing. And it would look bad if somebody got sick. It has nothing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think there's much of an issue, and you can get together and it'll be fine, and nobody's going to get anything except the normal con flu. Not to be associated with coronavirus.
Regular
Right.
flu.
Yeah.
Right. Which kills people too, mostly if they're old.
Con crud.
But,
Yeah.
Yeah, con crud. Someone was sharing statistics. They said that like the normal flu has killed more people than the coronavirus this year.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
The case fatality rate of the normal flu is much higher than coronavirus. The difference is, I may listen to a virus podcast.
Yes, you do.
The big difference is that you can get inoculated against the flu, and then there's herd immunity, which actually knocks down the total number of cases. Versus there's no inoculation for coronavirus, or I'm sorry, COVID-19. So therefore, it sort of spreads everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
But you can combat it with your essential oils, like Karen the anti-vaxxer does with the regular flu.
Oh, right. Exactly.
Yeah. So 55 minutes and 20 seconds. We got to cut that garbage out.
I was being sarcastic.
Don't worry,
not
Mike.
real advice.
Mike Pence is on the job. He's the COVID czar. It's all going to work out.
Facebook has taken down all the advertising about coronavirus cures, so we're good.
Oh, that's good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Hey, hi, Jim. I see Jim's commenting. Like people don't get con crud all the time anyway. You're right.
Hey, Jim. Jim's an accelerator.
Academic Jim. Woo!
So we've got like
myself, but I've never gotten sick from a conference.
Yeah.
Neither have I. It's kind of maybe it's because I don't talk to people at conferences. I don't know.
So the telling thing, and we don't have to stay on this topic, but the telling thing is, at least on the live tracking map that I'm looking at, there's right now 60 cases in the United States. 42 of them are the folk who are stuck in the middle of the country who are quarantined from the Diamond Princess.
Yeah.
So we don't have a lot of, and I'm trying to convince my wife. We're going to Disney World next week. Well, at the end of next week, and then on a cruise. There's one case on the East Coast, and there's nothing going on in Florida or the Caribbean. So I'm like, yeah, I think we're good. I don't think we're going to have a problem.
So should we figure out what we're doing with your accounts when you get coronavirus and don't come back?
If I get coronavirus, yeah, we'll cross that bridge.
All right, so back on point. Announcements.
Announcements.
Looks like we have Whopper Summit. You want to talk about Whopper Summit again? Because we've been covering it pretty closely.
Again. Yeah.
So we've talked about it for every show for the past couple weeks. So that's
Whopper
cool.
Summit, hardware focused.
Is that where you eat hamburgers?
Conference. Yes, lots of hamburgers.
No, it's the War Operation Plan Response Summit.
Yes.
From War Games.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes. So that will happen in Philadelphia, at the Fort Washington specifically, at the end of March. So March 27th to 29th. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. And it was awesome last year, and I'm looking forward to being there this year.
That's the LAN party weekend, Nate. So
Yeah, it is. I probably won't be going to Whopper Summit. In fact, I think at this point I have 3 things going on that weekend, so I need to figure out how I'm working that out.
You want to go to the LAN party?
It was nice being on this podcast. I have to no longer be on because my co-host here isn't supporting things I do. So
I totally support it. That's fine. Listen, I will happily be at B-Sides Delaware when it comes up.
Okay. So what's this LAN party?
We have a coworker who, his wife and him, I mean, they do take some regular vacations, but rather than doing a big family vacation every year, and they have 3 daughters, and their daughters are all gamers. They have this blowout party. It starts on Friday morning and it goes till Sunday, where there's 20 to 30 nerds who descend upon his house. We bring our rigs. There's like spaces to crash in the basement or on the couches or whatever, and we set up our systems in the big living room area, on the back porch area, which is next to it, and we game. We game. Like there's this one game, Natural Selection 2, which is an alien, which is like a Colonial Marines versus aliens. We have like 30 people playing that together. and the games run for like 2 hours, and you're doing it like 2 in the morning, and you're like, oh, I can't stay awake anymore, but we got to keep going because we're going to kill those damn bugs. And oh, it's so cool. It's so cool.
Sounds like fun. I haven't done a LAN party in so long.
No, probably 10, 15 years for me.
And I always end up. One of them always suckers me into buying some new game there, like some $60 title. Like last year, it was The Division 2, and I played it for like 2 weeks after I got home, and I'm like, this was more fun at the LAN party.
It's not as fun now.
It's not as fun now. But PUBG, that battle royale game, Fortnite for grown-ups. They had
Fortnite for grown-ups.
They had released the custom lobby feature right before the LAN party, so that was amazing. We had a couple of good rounds of that, and then there's a bunch of games we play, and then we always do a round of either Werewolf or Mafia on Saturday night. We take a break from the digital stuff, do that. Sunday we might go to a movie, but yeah, it's basically like he tells people. Your wife or husband or your significant other is allowed to come, but my wife is not there to entertain them. Don't bring them if they're not gaming.
Don't bring the non-gaming spouse.
And
is what
no
you're
one
saying.
under 18. No one under 18. He kicks his younger kids out to their grandparents for the weekend.
So
it's amazing.
If you're headed up there, Nate, and you guys want a board game, remind me, and I'll give you Secret Hitler.
Oh, you've told me about this. Oh, I didn't tell you. Hang on.
This audio medium is working out really well.
Awkward silence.
He's going to show us something. He's pulling something out of his closet. It's a box.
It's a box. Bong. Have you seen this?
Cards Against Star Wars.
It's awesome.
No, I have not.
Dude, I'm totally not kidding. Bring it to Lumberville tomorrow.
I certainly, in fact, right here is the backpack I will be taking to Lumberville. I will put it in the backpack.
Show me you putting it in the backpack. No, wait.
I can try, but
there's the okay. Put it. Oh, don't forget it. Yeah.
It's on the backpack. How's that? Which will mean I'll put it in the backpack after the show.
As long as it ends up in the Jeep in the morning.
Yeah, well, the backpack will be in the Jeep. Otherwise, I can't do any work while we're in Lumberville.
So it goes to Lumberville.
So wait, is it Cards Against Star Wars or Cads Against Star Wars?
What?
Cards.
I looked it up and I got this. I found one that said CADS, CADS.
It says cards on the box. It's Cards Against Humanity themed Star Wars. Is there anything else you need to know?
I was looking it up so I could see it, and I found a different one. Sorry.
Okay, I don't know what that other thing is, but. So anyway, we were talking about announcements, I think. The only other announcement I've got is that the DEF CON 610 meetup is coming up next Wednesday. So that'll be, what, the 4th?
Yeah.
Yes, May the 4th.
The 4th. May the 4th, but it's March the 4th. March the 4th, wait.
No, May the 4th, 2015 is when I sanded in my letter of resignation for Merck.
Yeah, you've mentioned that before.
I did that on purpose.
Yeah.
On that day.
So, So, Mark, you don't come out to DEF CON 610 nearly often enough. You have to.
I don't, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Wednesday night is an overloaded night for me. Most of the time I have a scout meeting, and on nights when I don't have a scout meeting, I sometimes have the New York Red Hat users group.
Yep.
So it's totally overloaded anyway. That being said, I feel slightly guilty and will try to attend more often. My son actually is going to college in the fall. I'm still going to be an assistant scoutmaster, but I won't feel morally obligated to go to the meetings every Wednesday
because your
night.
son won't be there, right? My
son won't be there. And I don't think I'm trying to think if there's an intersection of my scout buddies and people who listen to this podcast. It's a very tiny cross section, so I'm not
so you're worried about what you're going to say on the air.
Yeah.
Is that what you're
but
saying?
I would be a lot more once Josh is out, then I'll be a lot more open to the idea of doing other things on Wednesday nights.
Don't forget, you get out what you put in Scouts.
Yeah, but I've been doing it for 10 years, Andy. 10 years, and I've gotten a lot out. I don't regret a year of it, but yeah. Yeah. No, you're right though. You're right. I
It's a
slept.
good,
I slept in the woods last Friday night. I tried to sleep in my hammock in the Pocono Mountains, and it was 20 degrees.
Uh-huh.
Did not zipper the 0-degree bag up properly. So at 1:30 in the morning, I'm like, I'm going to die. So I got out of the hammock and then went into the cabin.
My pinky is blue.
My pinky was, but the heat was all being sucked out of my abdomen and my face, and I'm like, ugh, and the hammock doesn't capture any heat. Forgot about that. It's not like a tent. So there was a cabin I could escape to. So at 1:30
That's
I
good.
caved because
So you
I
didn't
figured
have the-
I did so I wouldn't literally die.
You
Did
didn't
not
have
want
to
to pull
freeze to
Leonardo
death. That's good.
DiCaprio and the Titanic. I'll never let you go. Let's him go immediately.
Nate, you may never get through this show.
Listen,
Oh,
this is completely normal for this show. Completely normal.
The recording deck will eventually run out of memory. So
It's got a 16 gig card. That's going to take a long
Haven't done
time.
it yet.
We haven't done it yet.
I think when we did Wizards and Peons, it was at least 2 hours, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I dropped off after 2 hours on that show. Yeah.
Like that's a heavy lift.
It was.
Andy's like, I can't believe this bullshit's still going on.
They're not done yet. What?
They're not done.
2 hours is my limit. I was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chuck, give me a shout out on Facebook if you're still listening. 'Cause we're bringing Cards Against Star Wars to Lumberville tomorrow if you can make it. You should totally come to Lumberville, Chuck, if you're still on the channel.
So, reviews. We don't have any new reviews this the past 2 weeks. That makes us sad. We want more reviews, folks. You got to tell us what we're doing right and wrong. If you keep not telling us, we're just going to keep randomly making changes until we totally ruin the show. So you don't want that to happen, do you?
So how can they give a review? Do they need to use a particular platform to do that?
And whatever platform you're listening to this show on, you should be able to leave some manner of review, whether that's leaving a comment on the live stream, or if you're watching the live stream afterward, you can just leave a comment on YouTube. You can, Apple Podcasts is a pretty popular one. That's where I check most frequently for reviews. We've also got Stitcher and all the other places where you can get podcasts from. Not all of them support commenting or reviews, but any of them that do, go ahead and leave a review. If you feel like you've left a review and we missed it, let me know. Because it's very possible that we missed it. So you can reach out to me on Twitter, or you can send an email to podcast@ironsysadmin.com.
We'll also accept smoke signals and skywriting.
Yeah, and don't forget the TCP over carrier pigeon.
So Chuck says he's coming to Lumberville tomorrow, and he's bringing Cards Against Thrones, which I have to imagine is Cards Against Humanity Game of Thrones edition.
Yeah.
That's my guess. I drink and I know things.
I'm almost sad to say that I have not watched Game of Thrones.
So Game of Thrones is amazing for 7 seasons, and then
It's a total letdown. I've heard.
It shows you how people worship this show for the better part of a decade, and then you can see how, like, talk about cancel culture. In a matter of just a handful of episodes, they crapped away all the goodwill.
Well, I
mean,
it was 7 seasons of George R.R. Martin, and then some dude in a closet.
Yeah, they really.
I mean, who remembers how Lost ended?
Thank you.
I remember people were mad.
I really didn't need to remember that.
Like, I had blocked it out. Why is it back? Why did you have to mention it?
I like when Lost was first. My sister gave me the DVD set for Lost. And this was when I still commuted from Toms River to White House Station. I had to get up at 5:30 in the friggin' morning. I'm there in my dining room, father of young kids, so it's late. I'm just feeding DVDs into my laptop, watching the next episode of Lost. I'm like, should I do one more? If I do one more, it'll be over at midnight, and I'll still wake up and be able to function. Yeah, I'm gonna do
The
one
answer
more.
is always yes.
Yes, always watch the next one until it's 5 a.m. and you're like, wait, I didn't sleep?
Yeah, so like 15 years ago, Mark would probably be so jealous of today, Mark, because literally all I have to do is roll out of bed and go downstairs. And yet I don't really have those moments anymore where I like push my luck and watch stuff really.
I literally sleep on the other side of that wall. So, I mean, I could almost work from the bed. In fact, I could, since they gave me a laptop to work on. So,
Yeah, I don't know.
at any rate, that's our not reviews.
That's our not review. So leave some reviews so that the Iron Sysadmin
Reviews.
doesn't go the way of Game of Thrones.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how we tie that in. Okay, good.
We're still in peak Game of Thrones era. We're still like in the Red Wedding era. We're doing good.
Right.
All right.
So I'm almost hesitant to go into any sort of chat tonight because I think we've done enough of that. Usually this is the part of the show where the hosts talk about things they have going on, but I'm really hesitant tonight.
Well, I totally think you should. I think Jason should say what he's been up to because Andy and I, and especially me, I've been hogging the mic, man.
It looks like you've been working on that game cabinet you were talking about. So if you can talk about that, then you should.
Yeah. So I want a bar top arcade, so I decided to build one. So I worked one of my friends actually Jump Ship, you know him as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've met Jump Ship. I met him at DEF CON, I think.
DEF CON 610.
Yep.
If you want to meet Jump Ship.
So
he's a gamer.
Not his Christian name.
No, not his Christian name.
No, that's what he was named. It's on his birth certificate.
So he unbeknownst to me, until I sort of off the cuff mentioned it, is a huge guy who gets into all this. He knows all the different joystick combinations and like all of this stuff. He's built like a bunch of these.
Retro/arcade games are kind of his thing.
And he saved me a bundle of money because I was just going to go to places that I knew and get the kit and build it. And he put it together, helped me put together a kit that was probably, I don't know, a third of the price and probably way higher quality than what I was going to get. And I'm in the process of building it. So it's a Raspberry Pi 4, which is actually newer than what the software is built for at the moment. So I don't have access to everything, but I figured I'd build for the future.
Which software package did you end up with?
Laka is the only one that runs right now, but I want to look at Recalbox and RetroPie. Both of those are supposed to have Raspberry Pi 4 versions coming out. Now,
doesn't Retro already have a Pi 4? I thought they did.
No, you can. Okay. There's ways to make it work. So I started looking into this, and I'm confused.
Yeah, open source.
Pretty sure it's the same ARM64 processor in the Pi 3 and the Pi 4. So I'm a little not understanding why it wouldn't work in the Pi 4, but apparently it doesn't.
Well, because then I think you start getting into things like BIOS and other firmware-y things.
Yeah, it's possible.
And I could just start saying nerd terms and people will smile and wave.
It's all about the memory and the flippity bits.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. So Laka works pretty well. I'm not thrilled with the interface. If you want to play games,
the Quantum Fluxer.
Well, it's very much like the PlayStation interface, but it doesn't just give you the games in a list to play. There's like all sorts of menus and crap you have to go through. Part of it is probably that I need to learn how to use it a little better. And I'm still waiting for a couple parts, but I've got these huge speakers in there.
Be less bad.
Amplifier and so it's all ready to go. Cherry MX switches, so lots of clicking.
Stellar. So what's your favorite retro arcade game?
My go-to is Gauntlet.
Oh, Gauntlet is
I'm not surprised.
Warrior shot the food.
Yes.
Stupid warrior.
Wizard needs food badly.
Actually, it was usually Wizard who shot the food.
Wow.
Yeah, because he's relying on that ranged attack.
Yeah, so I have.
I was usually the Wizard too, although I did like the Valkyrie.
Yes.
With her ample chest armor.
A ton of ROMs fell out of the sky onto this little USB stick. I don't know where they came from.
That happens. It's when the humidity gets to a certain level, it starts raining ROMs. It's like Men, but less destructive.
Actually, I know where
raining ROMs.
Archive.org.
Hallelujah!
So, a mutual friend of ours, mate of mine, Jason Scott, works for Archive.org and has helped pioneer this web arcade system where you can play all these games, and not all of them, but a large number of ROMs are available on Archive.org.
We got to help him. We got to play test. Remember that we got to play test that sitting in a suite at the Hyatt Regency at DerbyCon. What, 4 or 5? Like totally drunk on mead.
I think it was
That's such a nerd thing to get drunk on.
it was at least a year before they released it.
Mead is evil. Mead does not get along with me, or I don't get along with mead. It never ended. I used to bring beer to MeadCon because I was sick of getting sick on mead.
We shan't talk about that.
Mm.
So that's been my big project. My second project is to try to figure out how to use CoreOS since Red Hat killed Atomic.
But Fedora should have. Well, Fedora has a Fedora-based Core, Atomic thing. And
it's CoreOS now. They killed off Atomic. After they finally got it running and installed.
That's why we bought CoreOS, company.
I liked Atomic. Atomic was great.
We love that you liked Atomic, but
I know. Get with the times. I get it.
Man, you can still. No one's making you not use Atomic.
Upgrade or die.
We're not going to come to your house and delete it.
The lack of updates is going to make me not use Core or not use Atomic. I'm going to have to move.
You're not wrong. I should browse your vintage. Ooh.
Yeah, see, I just distracted him. He's done.
You did.
Well,
it's the only way to shut me up.
If he's distracted, we can move on with the show.
Archive.org, you can find anything on Archive.
I always love finding the old Apple II games that sucked up a lot of my life.
When I was still
you find them now, they will emulate in your browser and you can play them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When I was still at that little web host I used to work at, we had a couple FreeBSD 4.2 machines or 4.8 machines. I don't remember anymore. I hated these things, and you couldn't update them because they were too old. Because even FreeBSD did not release the ISOs for 4 anymore. They were at 6 or 7 or whatever, right? And we had an issue where one of them got compromised, I think. And when they compromised it, they just it was one of these cases where they got in and then they just wreaked havoc. They didn't make it do anything weird. They just wanted to break stuff, right? So they deleted a bunch of libraries, a bunch of other crap. And I couldn't upgrade the machine. I couldn't move it to another machine because I didn't have anything to move it to. I just had to fix it, right? And archive.org had FreeBSD 4 ISOs archived. So I could go download them, get the crap I needed to fix the thing, and then get it back into operation. Freaking Jason Scott saved me.
Nice.
Long before I knew it was Jason Scott, because I hadn't met him at the time. That was long before I ever met him at DerbyCon. He's such a cool guy.
Such a cool guy.
A bunch of his talks are online on YouTube and other places, definitely worth looking into. His talks are absolutely amazing.
And his documentaries are pretty good too.
Yes.
Free range archivist, is that what he calls himself? Yeah.
Free range archivist, yep. That's his official title at archive.org.
Yeah. Pretty cool guy. So. Just the times we sat around at DerbyCon and just let him tell stories.
Yeah.
Some of the weirdest crap.
Stories that cannot be retold here.
That man has seen some stuff. Anyway, we may as well move on into the news and get this show moving. What do you think?
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. We're at an hour and a half already, so maybe we'll break the 2-hour mark unless we rush. So I'm going to hit the purple button again. So our first news article is from NPR, believe it or not. I don't think we've ever covered an NPR article on the show before. But this one is perfect because you may remember about 40 episodes ago, I think it was episode 35, the same episode where I talked about how I destroyed my employer's Rev Manager with an errant DD command. I still have scars from that.
Much like the Satellite 6 scar on my wrist.
Much like this. This was so much worse than Satellite 6. Anyway, someday I'll tell you about Rev 3.0 as well. Anyway, So there's this guy, or unfortunately, there was this guy. We talked about him on the show on that episode.
Spoiler!
He built himself a steam-powered rocket because he's one of these flat earthers, and he wanted to fly into space or close to space so that he could see for himself the curvature of the Earth, or the not curvature of the Earth, which I think is what he suspected he would find when he got there. And the story we covered way back then was that he had hit, 1875 feet or something, and that was his new record or whatever, and he got some news coverage for it. He has, unfortunately, as you may have expected could have been the eventual outcome of his antics, being, building himself a rocket, he's died. He had a crash in his most recent rocket, which he was trying to get up to 5,000 feet, I think the article said his goal was. Pretty neat-looking rocket if you look at the pictures, but...
Steam-powered rocket, by the way.
Steam-powered rocket. Yeah, the first one was steam-powered, or the last one, I should say. I guess he's done this 3 times now. Three times in all. Charm. Third time's a charm, right? Third time finally got him. I think we probably talked about how this is eventually going to kill him the last time we talked about it, and sure enough, it has. So,
pretty sure there's a bury the lead joke in there somewhere.
Bury the lead, right? So, he attempted to fly his new rocket, and I guess the article says that. So you can see in the picture, there's this ladder that helps him get into the thing, right? And for whatever reason, the ladder doesn't get removed when he takes off. At least that's what I'm guessing, because they say that the rocket contacted the ladder while it was taking off, right? And that apparently damaged or triggered one of the parachutes that were meant to help him safely fall back to the Earth. And it deployed as he was heading up into the sky, and that, of course, sent things all awry at that point, and then he had no more parachute to fall back to the Earth safely with, and the thing just nosedived into the ground. And unfortunately, he's perished. There's no video, even though that might have been... I don't want to see the man die, but it would have been interesting to see the flight. There is a picture.
You can pull the old clip from the beginning of the $6 Million Man.
Yeah, right.
I'll bring it up! And then it, does the rolling crash across the desert.
So, I hate to make fun of someone who's passed, but, you got to expect that this is eventually where the guy was going to end up, right? You're making a rocket and trying to fly it in the desert. I don't know.
You're either dead or you're the $6 Million Man, and I'm guessing Oscar Goldman did not run out there to grab him.
Yeah.
No.
So
Darwin Award winner.
Darwin Award winner, right? If you're going to build your own rocket, you may die, and he did.
So, I saw a YouTube video not that long ago that you can watch. I was watching it because I could watch it in VR on my Vive, where these folk had essentially a weather balloon, a drone or whatever, which you got to track it all the way up and see its view through its GoPro, and it takes it to the edge of space before it fails, and you can see the curvature of the Earth. So, there are ways to find that out without pulling a wily
Listen, that's
coyote.
Obviously...
The front of the camera is curved, and that's, the way the light rays, and then with
okay.
It's
what's to stop your eyes from doing that?
The government wants you to believe that the world is round. So every product ever made, including the windows in airplanes, force a curved perspective on everything. And that's why the Earth looks curved when you're in an airplane.
Seriously, if you've got time, go down this rabbit hole and just start reading. These people are like, you read some of this stuff and they're absolutely mind-blowingly brilliant in the wrong direction.
Yeah, right.
Some of the between the conspiracy theories and the unprovable mathematical science that they've got written out on why the Earth is flat, and the flat Earth is surrounded by these large walls of ice, and that's what keeps the oxygen in. Like, it's insane, absolutely insane.
I had heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, because unfortunately I did read it on the internet, that whole flat Earth thing was started as an exercise for people to argue ridiculous positions.
Unfortunately, they convinced themselves.
And much like Scientology was essentially L. Ron Hubbard, creating a religion based on a bar bet. And in both cases, you had too many people take it actually seriously. So, yeah, I don't know. Again, that you hear some of this stuff and you don't know whether it's true or not.
So
bar bet with a bunch of drunk people. I can't
Well,
possibly
something
imagine
like
that going wrong.
I think the U.S. Marines was also formed on a bar bet, though. So
But they're awesome.
they are, right? So not everything bad comes out of a bar.
No, there are many good things that come out of bars, but in this case, Scientology as well as the Flat Earth Society, which
Right.
we are attributing to a bar, which it might not have been, but we're just going to go with it.
Yeah, we're just gonna go with it.
Don't forget Hollow Earth and the Lizard Men.
Hmm.
And Luke and Ben met Han and Chewie in a bar, so that was pretty important.
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
have.
And Han shot first.
Greedo never fired, is what actually happened. Greedo never fired a shot. I saw it in '77. Greedo
we
never
go.
shot.
Greedo was on fire.
Greedo never fired. Yeah. Because Han Solo's a scoundrel. They wrecked his character.
Andy
by
is
making...
just shaking her head, saying, "Oh, bunch of
No,
nerds."
Andy's
No,
shaking
I
his
like
head.
He's like, why?
No, I love Star Wars and Star Trek.
She's heard my Han.
Yes.
She's heard my Greedo never fired a shot rant before. Old man yells at cloud. Film at 11. Yeah.
I mean, you would not believe the amount of times that Star Wars and Star Trek are discussed in our Slack channel.
I
Yep.
think he would. I think he suspects.
So speaking of things that polarize people,
It's a hard
CNN
thing, damn it.
CNN Business has an article about and this. I had to. This is not necessarily technology related at all, but I had to include it.
It's
But it
absolutely
is.
technology related. It's the
Yeah,
graphical
but-
interface format.
All right, so you've heard the argument of GIF versus GIF.
Yeah.
Everybody
graphical
has
interface
heard
format
the-
versus peanut butter.
Everybody has heard the argument, right? How do you pronounce this? Is it with a hard G or a soft G? And everybody says, oh, well, GIF, the peanut butter, is spelled with a J. Therefore, GIF with a G should be pronounced GIF, like gift, right? And then, of course, there's arguments that go back and forth. And didn't the creator of the format come out and say that it's actually pronounced GIF? And everyone said, nope, you're wrong.
I think so. I think I remember that. Yeah.
I think it's in the article here. So, Jif, the peanut butter company, is working with Giphy, the place that you can find all of your funny animated GIFs
And
to
you'll
put in,
know how you pronounce Giphy, by the way. You don't pronounce it Jiffy.
even though it's spelled like you should pronounce it Jiffy, which they must have done that on purpose.
So
Anyway.
I'm just going to be the smartass who points that out.
Yeah,
So
right,
This article is. Really
I'm team
funny.
GIF myself, but
right.
Yes, agreed. Well, that's the
Old man
correct
yells at cloud.
So anyway, the point I'm trying, before you go into the rant, I just want to say
No,
that
I'm not going to rant.
Jif, no, Jason's
I'm
about
okay
to.
that you're wrong. Oh,
Jif, the peanut butter, is about to release a special edition jar of peanut butter with GIF, spelled GIF, and it says hard G versus soft G on the labels for the peanut butter. So, okay, now you're free to rant, Jason.
No, that's exactly what I was going to. Is that on the peanut butter jar it says GIF hard G and GIF soft G, right? And with the correct pronunciations.
Yeah.
And the article, it says GIF is partnering with Giphy, a GIF search engine, to put a lid on this decade-long debate. Both GIF and the peanut butter are pronounced GIF. So
Yeah, I found that kind of confusing too. I thought I misread it.
I don't know, but I'm buying. They have a link to buy it, and just bought one. So.
it's
Of course
I
you
can't.
did.
It's unavailable.
It's going to be on those shelves in a month or two, right?
It's sold out already. That sucks. I'm going to get me one of them though.
Yeah, so the thing I'm missing here is I thought that hard G was pronounced G, or no, J. But apparently I'm wrong. I don't remember from my old.
I don't think this debate's
Phonic
being
classes.
settled at all.
Yeah, I think it's really just fueling the fire.
You actually have them both in your handle, right? Gang Griff.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
See, I there's my contribution to this discussion, right?
And
As a
on
marketer.
It's Jandriff. Get it right.
It's Jan.
Jan Griff.
So, anyway.
It's all right.
So
I
if
really- I
you
have
want to
limited-
try, Go ahead.
No, I have limited use cases for peanut butter. I like it in peanut butter cups, and I like it in that peanut butter bacon burger at
Two Rivers.
At Two Rivers.
Oh, that is so good.
It's so good.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
Oh, Jim agrees.
You mean
that
Gim?
Gim. It was going nowhere fast.
But it's the best place to go.
So anyway, you can read the article and try to judge whether we've interpreted it properly or not.
Jason
Oh no!
went to
Did he
go
drop?
he went to buy some.
This happened last show too. He'll be back in a minute, and then he'll curse at his ISP,
No doubt.
which he and I used to both work at. So he has the right to curse at them.
So do we have time for more news?
Yeah, we do. No, he'll be back. He'll be back. However, the next article is one that I think he added. So we should. Oh, hey, he's waving in the green. Yeah, hey, he's back. What did you do? Did you close the wrong browser window again?
No. I was clicking back and forth between live comments and private chat, and apparently it decided I'm going to close now. The browser was open.
Yeah, the nerve to use the interface as intended.
Yeah, maybe I should not look at private chat then, because it might kill the whole stream. That'd be bad.
Yeah, you're not allowed to look at private chat.
Yeah, only you guys are.
I did put an article in here.
You did. That's what I was just saying when you were not here.
Yes. No, I heard that part because I was sitting in the background waving my hands going, are you going to let me back in or just talk about me not being there?
Sorry, I was looking at your article when you joined back in, so I didn't see.
I see.
So anyway, off you go. Talk about the Forbes article you've added to the show notes.
First of all, I want to alleviate all fears. The photos are okay. So nobody got to the photos.
Right.
Clearview AI, apparently some sort of a company that believes that AI is a great marketing term, who
like everybody. Who doesn't?
Uses, if I understand what they're doing, they're basically a facial recognition company who is using all your data, by the way, because they scraped all these images from the internet. Good job, people.
They put it on the internet. Obviously, you wanted people to scrape it.
Yep. So they got breached. But nothing important like the photos. Nothing important like the photos was touched. They only got to the entire customer list.
Yeah.
Including all the law enforcement agencies.
Yeah, so the pictures of everybody's faces, that's safe.
Yeah, so all they got was the customer lists and how many accounts they'd set up and the number of searches they had, but nothing really important like the photos.
Right.
Yeah. But data breaches are a part of life in the 21st century. And
I thought that was hilarious that they added that. Right. Unfortunately, data breaches are a part of life in the 21st century. Our servers were never accessed. We patched the flaw and continued to work to strengthen our security. Wait, so how did they get the data if your servers were never accessed?
It's this new. It's called a quantum hack.
It's a quantum hack. You think about the hack and it just happens? Is that it?
Yeah, so it's quantum entanglement.
Are they trying to like Jedi mind trick us?
Yeah, the servers were never accessed, guys. It's fine.
Yep. So, yeah. Who knows? In other news, apparently lots of places are stopping use of Clearview AI anyway. So,
I don't think that matters. They've already got the data.
Let's play the conspiracy theory game. Clearview AI is losing customers, and suddenly they get hacked and they're all over the news.
Yeah, no such thing as bad press. I feel like this is bad press, though.
I think this is bad press. I don't think anybody will say, "Oh, let me go do business with this company."
Yeah, let's go.
But
I mean, it's okay, Mark. Their servers weren't accessed.
I mean, look at
maybe there's CXOs who are stupid enough to believe that. I don't know. I would hope.
Look at places like Target that got breached. I mean, their stock prices tanked, right? Oh wait.
Yeah, they're totally closing up left and right, aren't they?
I think there's a little difference there, though. Target is about selling things to Karen and her offspring. Clearview is a technology company.
I know. Yes, I'm aware.
We don't have a good opinion of Karen. Poor Karen.
Poor Karen.
Yeah.
Trying to think if I know anyone named Karen that I'm
If
just...
if she'd stop trying to
Karen
get
on
us to
Facebook.
join her MLM, then we might like her better.
That's right. I forgot, Jason. You don't participate in the face. Karen is a generalized term used for, the anti-vaxxer on Facebook.
She also has a really obnoxious haircut and demands
right.
It's just the smallest of incidences.
The busybody mom of the past is now named Karen.
Oh, okay. Sure, my aunt is thrilled.
Well, your
You
Aunt
have an Aunt
Karen might be
Karen?
perfectly
Yes.
delightful. Does she
might
try
be
to
fine.
pawn essential oils and alienate friends and family?
Convince you to not get vaccinated?
No.
Then she's fine.
The anti-vax thing, maybe, but I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Scared.
Well,
enough
folks,
about Karen.
you now
Enough
know
about
one
Karen, enough
more.
about Android.
You now know one more piece of information about Jason. He's got an aunt named Karen.
I do. Breach!
If
Breach!
Putting all this
Social
together so that
engineering.
you can-
Social
So now we
engineering.
can
Yeah.
answer his security questions.
Yes.
Favorite aunt. Karen's not working.
Why is it?
She's
Oh,
my favorite. Then Aunt
Well,
Karen's
see, she
rise.
spells her name a little bit differently. It's an assortment of 64 random characters.
oh, okay. It's that
It's
Karen.
always
It's
pronounced
alphanumeric.
With
It's
symbols.
alphanumeric. And so symbols too. There you go.
Yes.
That's awesome. So it's little K ampersand big R 3 and I don't know.
And then like 59 other characters.
Yeah, right.
And then an N at the end. All
Right.
So what's going on with Android? The phone I don't
don't know.
use at this point.
Android sucks.
Android, I know you don't like Android, but I included it because we've talked about it plenty in the past, and we also talk about iPhone updates.
And it's got bubbles now.
It's got bubbles now,
Again.
and this bothers me,
Yeah.
but I'll get into that in a minute. So this article's from Tech Republic,
What do you
and
mean
apparently, we'll get there. Apparently, Android 11 is in the works. It's out, I think they said in beta release. I'm trying to find the right
Release for
developer
developers only.
preview. Yeah. So I wouldn't recommend going to download it and use it because you'll probably be very disappointed with the usability because the developer releases of Android are never good,
especially on my iPhone XR.
Especially on your iPhone XR. So the big thing that I want to pull out of this as one of the features that I think should die in a fire is chat head bubbles.
Or a homemade rocket.
Or a homemade rocket.
Too soon?
So who has used Facebook Messenger? I know, Jason, you haven't.
I have.
Okay, so when you install Facebook Messenger and you don't change any of the settings, you just log in and start using it, it has this annoying feature called chat bubbles. That, like when you receive a message or something and you're on your home screen, a little bubble shows up on your home screen that you can get back to the chat quickly. It's in the way, and it's so annoying. I hate it.
I don't remember that ever happening.
So
It'll do that on an iPhone?
I think so. Maybe
not
it's just an
familiar with
Android
that.
thing. Maybe it's just an Android thing then. Maybe it's just an annoyance I have on Android. But the problem is they're building that functionality into the Android operating system. So any old application can now clutter my home screen with chat bubbles.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
I may lose it. Apparently you can schedule your dark mode for when it's dark outside. That's the other neat thing there. These are like the two big things. Oh, screen recording, motion sense gesture, which is part of the radar or whatever they've built into the new Pixels, and one-time permission settings, which is actually kind of cool. So, like, yes, you can use my camera right now, Facebook, but you can't use it ever again unless you ask me. It's actually kind of a nice feature. Does iPhone do that? I can't remember. Does iPhone let you grant permission on a single use?
Good question.
Not quite like that. I mean, there's permissions that will only you can give permission for something to happen only when the app is open.
Yeah,
As opposed to all the
Android
time.
does that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, this will be like, yes, this time you can do it because I really want to do this thing, Instagram, who wants to use my camera, but I don't want you to be able to use it carte blanche.
Yeah, but that just means that every time you open that app, it's going to pop up and ask you again.
Yeah, well, if it's a thing that demands use of your camera, yes. But I don't know how Apple does this, but with Android, if I tell it no, not yes this time, if I just tell it no, it'll never ask me again, and it just won't ever give it permission to the camera.
No, if you try to do something that it depends on the app, but a lot of them, for the most part,
if you try to do something that requires the camera, then it'll be like, oh, but you need to give me access to your camera, otherwise you can't use this feature, and that's fine because I told it no. So, but anyway, Android 11 is coming, folks. Most of you probably don't have Android 10 yet, though. Because that's the fractured nature of the Android market, unless you have a Pixel device. Not only a Pixel device, but a new Pixel device.
So what are you running, Nate?
Currently, I have a Pixel 4.
Okay.
And I bought the Ginormo phone version of the Pixel 4 this time, because I thought I'd give the phablet market a try.
Yeah, I thought you used Crapple. I guess I was wrong.
I had an iPhone for a little over a year, but I've been a very long time Android user, and I had just gotten frustrated with. In fact, it's still sitting here on my desk because I use it to listen to podcasts while I walk because it still has a headphone jack. I got frustrated with my Pixel, my original Pixel, and I decided to give iPhone a try. But anyway,
my iPhone works great. I don't have any problems with it. My headphone, I haven't missed the headphone jack since it left.
The only time I miss it is when I want to listen to something on a walk because I don't own any Bluetooth headphones.
You don't need Bluetooth. You can use the headphones that have the special Crapple thing. This works in the 10R. Right here.
Yes. Right there. When I had my iPhone, I could do that. That is definitely a thing. What I don't have is one of those. What I don't have is one of those for the Pixel 4, which uses USB-C.
So there's this magical thing called Amazon where you could order something. Maybe
you're right. You are correct.
I think we pay you at least 5 cents an hour, so you should be able to afford it.
Wow, did you get a raise?
So I didn't say that there was no such thing as headphones for my Pixel 4. What I said was I don't currently own any.
Well, I think it's an easily solvable problem. So
it is an easily solvable problem.
Well,
so I'm basically just saying you're being lazy about it.
I haven't done it yet. Is what it comes down to.
We'll set up a Patreon level. So
yeah, get Nate some headphones.
Get Nate some headphones.
Don't fund me. Huh.
So we got 2 more articles to get through. You think we can manage this?
No,
we got 12 minutes before we hit the 2-hour mark. Oh, that's right. We started recording earlier than we went live. So you live folks haven't been around for the full 2 hours. You missed the good 10 minutes at the beginning.
So what's going on with Dropbox?
Dropbox. So I actually didn't know this. Maybe you guys had heard. But back in 2015, which was apparently right around the time when Amazon was like, you will never have to move off of Amazon because we essentially have, or AWS, because we essentially have unlimited or limitless infinitely expandable resources. Dropbox said, yep, see ya, and they started moving back in-house, well, I shouldn't say back in-house, because they were born on AWS, and they decided to move in-house, which is a thing I didn't know about. Had you guys heard this? 2015 this happened.
No.
Apparently I'm not the only one that missed the news then. So this article, while it's from Data Center Knowledge, by the way, which I forgot to mention. It says Dropbox's reverse migration from cloud to own data centers 5 years on. I read through this looking for like the golden nugget that says this is why everybody should be moving to their own data center, and it's not there. Like I didn't find anything in here that's like some silver bullet that says you totally shouldn't be on AWS or you shouldn't be in the cloud. It's really a story of how basically Dropbox has built a private cloud to run their own custom software because they couldn't find software that would do it for them that was already produced.
Since we're off the clock, can we just not call it a private cloud? It's their friggin' data center.
Yes, it's their data center. But
not everything's a cloud.
So here's the thing.
My lab and my laptop and all this stuff, my game rig, this is not Mark's private cloud.
No.
These are my boxes.
The
However,
old guy is yelling about clouds again.
he's yelling at...
Old man yells at clouds, film at 11.
Here's the thing, though, right? So a data center, in my mind, a data center is like a thing in a specific place, right? So,
And
like,
Jim
I
is
have...
talking on chat, too.
Yeah, I see. So it's like I have a data center somewhere, right? What Dropbox has, and this is why I'm referring to it as private cloud instead of just a data center, is they have data centers all over the country that are like expandable, contractable. The data is everywhere, or maybe not everywhere, but the data is several places, right? So it's more like
it's a wide area network.
it's okay. In 1990s terms, it would be a WAN.
It's an intercloud.
It's an intercloud.
Just stop using the word cloud for everything. That just gets on my
Well,
nerves.
no. So this, I think, in this circumstance, it fits. I would not call the couple servers I have down in the basement my private cloud.
And I'm glad you won't.
Maybe if they were running OpenStack, I might.
Oh, shut up.
It's a microservices center.
The microservices center.
Uh,
So anyway, I think this fits the definition of a private cloud because it is very cloud-like, and it's private.
I'm off the Red Hat clock, so I don't have to call everything the hybrid cloud.
It's not
Right
a hybrid
now.
cloud. It's a
Not
private
hybrid
cloud.
anymore. They own it all themselves.
Yeah.
That's probably why they raised their prices.
Maybe.
Ooh, bazinga.
I
Could
mean,
be.
I just
Could be.
kind of got rid of them because they're just costing way too much.
There's better service.
Did I ever pay for Dropbox? Do they have a free tier?
They
Yeah.
do.
I believe they do. It's like a gig
Yeah.
or two, though.
Yeah, it's not very much. Yeah.
It's like this USB stick right here holds more than a free tier on on Dropbox can hold. This tiny SD card holds more than... Anyway.
So they moved a measly 600 petabytes.
Yeah. So that's like nothing.
I
That's
kind of figured they'd have more data than that. Honestly.
This USB stick does not hold 600 petabytes.
Yet. They
Not
haven't-
yet.
You
Not
can,
yet.
you can put some together into an open hybrid cloud in your basement, though.
There we go. If I had several sort of, I don't know, elastic compute
You get
USB
Get
sticks
those-
there.
you get those USB hubs that have like all the different slots, and you
Yeah.
can put all the USB sticks into it, and then
Then
you
raid them.
raid it. You can raid it together.
That'd be awesome. And
That
then
works,
put
by
like,
the way.
And if you
Put
need
like-
if you need multiple data centers for it to be a cloud, you can just kick Harper out of her room and just set up the storage in there.
yeah, then I'll have 2 data centers in my house. Then it'll be a
Yeah.
private cloud.
Your wife might be furious at you, but hey,
Why are the children sleeping on top of a disk array? Because it keeps them warm.
Keep them warm.
they like the humming sound. It
Yeah.
lulls them to sleep.
It's like one of those massage beds.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know that there's really a whole lot to be learned here. Dropbox is a very specific use case, and they did it for very specific reasons. It's not the oh my god, AWS is evil story that I was really deep down hoping that it was going to be.
Well,
But anyway, it's in the show notes. You can go read it if you want to. Tell me if you think I was wrong.
All right, so let's talk about an evil company. Microsoft.
Right. So our last article for the night is from Business Insider, right? Yeah, Business Insider. Former Microsoft engineer stole more than $10 million from the company and used it to buy a $1.6 million lakefront home
$10 million.
and a Tesla.
Wow.
So he bought the house and the car.
So
I want to know what he did with the rest of it.
He stole what they call currency stored value.
Yeah.
Online gift cards.
Yeah.
He stole $10 million of online gift cards and resold them online.
You're going down the same thought path I did. How the hell did he get away with this until he got to $10 million?
Forget how did he get away with it? Like, how mind-numbingly boring is it to steal $10 million in digital currency? Because
Here's your $25 gift card.
like all I'm
Here's your
thinking is
$30
like
gift card. But
They-
how much
they
have I earned? Oh, I've earned
they don't go
$70.
above like $100 a pop.
Right. Man, he was getting the big ticket $250 gift cards to make it worth his time.
How long did it take? Did it say?
It says he did it over the course of 2 years. Was it 2 years, or was it like 2015 to 18 or 2016 to 18?
Is he an
Started
automation
in
engineer? 'Cause it sounds
2018.
like he automated it.
Oh, he must have, right? Somewhere in here it says when he was employed.
So we're saying he used Ansible to pull it off?
Totally, it's all Ansible. He used Ansible to steal from Microsoft.
No,
That's the
he
story
didn't
we
use
want to
Ansible. It's Microsoft. He used PowerShell.
through Ansible.
Yeah, but Microsoft
he-
uses a huge amount of Ansible now.
Yeah,
He resold the
'Cause they hard
currency in
Linux.
exchange for Bitcoin.
yeah.
And
I'm trying to.
I wonder when he cashed out, because end of 2017 is when Bitcoin hit 20K. I was there for that. So I'm wondering if I wonder how much he made. You know,
Right, so-
because at the beginning,
so
of
was it not-
2016, what Bitcoin was only like $500 a pop.
So maybe it was not that he made 10 million from selling gift cards. It was that he made what
Less.
20%
$20
of 10 million on gift cards, and then the price of Bitcoin skyrocketed, and he was able to get out.
Yep.
And then he was arrested and charged with mail fraud in July. Yeah, so he would have gotten away with all of this, except he did the.
If it weren't for those meddling kids.
No, he did the classic thing that criminals do. They screw up because they
Started a land
screw-
war in Asia.
They screw with the post office or they screw with the IRS, and they
Yeah.
get caught.
So
Either way.
So-
Yeah, he lied on his taxes, which you would if you're making $10 million illegally. The government might
At that
notice
point,
that.
You should be out of the country, dummy.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And
But
if-
then he
if it
couldn't have his
doesn't expedite-
lakefront. He couldn't have his lakefront property in like Florida or wherever it was they said it was
Yeah, he could have had a lakefront property and
on his own freaking island.
in the Seychelles. Yeah. Yeah. So now he gets to go to prison for 20 years.
Yep. I'm sure it won't be nearly as enjoyable as his Tesla and the $1.6 million property that he illegally purchased.
Yeah.
I guess he legally purchased it just with illegal money.
In 20 years, when
yeah,
he gets
he's
out,
not going to get to keep
maybe
it.
he'll still have something.
You'd think.
Let's see. Bitcoin is dropping like a rock. Yay.
Hello and welcome to
Maybe
last
he
week.
won't have any money. Last week it was over 10K, and now it's down to 8,800.
Oh,
So, coronavirus.
must be coronavirus.
Is
No,
there
it
nothing?
actually it is. It's killing it's killing the stock market.
Dow,
It's killing
yeah.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
It's
Dow
all
Jones
in
had
the beginning. It's going to kill a lot of stuff.
Dow Jones had the biggest loss in history today.
Yeah. I mean, if you
Ouch.
think about how much is manufactured in China, I mean, I was watching the French news because I do that, and like more than 60% of their pharmaceuticals are manufactured in China. So they were interviewing with some of the pharmaceutical companies about their backup plan and how it's going to increase the cost, obviously. But you think about makeup, glasses, everything you wear on your body, all the tech, all manufactured in China. It's just going to continue to be a problem.
So the largest, pretty much the number one exporter of, I don't remember exactly what it was. It has something to do with viruses and cures and everything else. But the biggest maker of that product is in Wuhan,
Yeah.
and they've been shut down for a while.
I'm gonna say
Yeah.
Wuhan's like shut down, isn't it? Isn't that the...
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was where the biggest cluster started. That
Ground
was
zero.
part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was listening to Tech Meme Ride Home, which is a really awesome podcast if you don't listen to it. And he was talking about all this with the Dow Jones falling and all the stocks crashing at the moment is all based on the fact that all of the different all these different tech companies and manufacturers and everything they're dropping all of their revenue, their revenue predictions because
Right.
all the factories are shut down.
Right.
And the one thing he mentioned is, nobody has even looked at the other side of this. Even when the manufacturing comes back up, we may not have buyers for all this stuff. So because there's not enough supply to meet whatever demand. There's not going to be as much sales going on after the fact. So
Right. Right.
So it may get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, I believe that.
That's a cheerful note to end the show with.
Yeah. But no, well, all right, I'll cheer it up.
The end is near.
Fear not, Mike Pence has your back.
That's right.
Oh, good.
COVID-19 czar.
Is that really what they called him?
No, they just called him the czar of something. I can't remember what it was, but
okay.
he's
okay.
the czar. Yeah. At least that's what CNN labeled
It works
him.
in really well with the whole Russia thing.
I don't.
throwing that out
Yeah, but
They did that. They've done that Czar thing for 20 years
I
now.
know, but it just
Really
it fits
stupid.
so much better now.
they've had the czar thing. I always thought it was a weird name to be using to call somebody in the government
Our
in the
government.
U.S. a czar. Like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah,
Why are we calling him that?
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't Obama have a technology czar? And
Because white guy in
So
charge
did
doesn't work
Bush.
as well.
yeah,
Old white guy in
old
charge.
white guy making decisions on stuff they don't understand.
Yeah.
Czar. So, anyway, we've covered the news, we've covered the accelerators, we've covered Jason's bar top gaming system. I think
Mark sang to us.
we just
More than once.
hit 2 hours on the recording. I think we've had a successful show at this point.
Woohoo.
I know. I had
We will
fun.
be live for 2
Yeah.
hours in just under 5 minutes.
Yeah, right. So, it might take me 5 minutes to get through the usual outro. So, all right, folks.
Any parting words of wisdom from the Red Hat Accelerators?
Well, we can, yeah, okay.
All gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes.
Nah, that's it. Uncle Mark's got it.
Uncle Mark got it. So, thank you for tuning in for the show tonight, folks. If you tuned in live, thank you for watching live. If you want to watch us live, since I'm talking about live, you can find us roughly the second and fourth Thursday of every month on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Iron Sysadmin Podcast and subscribe and turn on the notifications, and it'll let you know when we go live, because we never seem to do it on time, and you'll probably want a little ping that tells you that. Otherwise, you might miss it. I'm going to skip the thing about Slack because I still haven't fixed that join link, but we have a Slack workspace, and if you want to join, I guess email us so I can add you. You can find us on the social medias, facebook.com/Iron Sysadmin and twitter.com/Iron Sysadmin. And if you like the show, please feel free to contribute via Patreon, patreon.com/Iron Sysadmin. And of course, since we are a podcast, you can subscribe to us on the usual places that you would find podcasts if you'd like to listen to us audio only in the recorded format. Old school. And with that, I think we're going to call it a night. So, good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. Anybody have some final words before I push the red button?
Push the purple one.
But the purple one doesn't play the outro music. No!
There you go. Thank you, Homer.
Oh, great. Now we're going to get sued by Disney.
Now I got sued. All right, folks. Have a good one, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
That was a good show. Jim may be the only one left here, unless he's logged out. But anyone who's still tuned into the live feed, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next show. Have a good one.